Hello and welcome back to my channel, Fanfic Fantasy. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today, we're kicking off the first part of our series, What If Tanjiro Had God-Level Powers Like Yoriichi? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is Lucas X Fun 171 from Wattpad. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Akaza had the ability to see a person's fighting spirit directly, so when he saw Rengoku completely have a huge boost in fighting spirit, he was left shocked. He started shaking slightly. Such fighting spirit, even with such bodily injuries, you decide to press on. And your stance, it has no weaknesses. You really should become a demon, Kyojuro. Then we could fight for eternity. Blood demon art, technique development, destructive death, annihilation type, flame breathing, esoteric art, ninth form, Rengoku. They both launched themselves at each other, both with the intention to kill, but only one of them could die. Rengoku landed his sword into Akaza's arm. He cut through it like a hot knife through butter. He took it out and aimed for his head, but Akaza deflected it downward, so he cut it off from his shoulder. He then twisted it and cut upwards again. A huge fire dust cloud was formed because of their attack. Both of them stopped moving once they carried out their attack. The dust cleared very slowly, and two spectators from the side were hoping that Rengoku would turn out victorious. But to Zenitsu and Inosuke's horror, they saw Akaza's arm straight through Rengoku's abdomen. Akaza still had the fleeting hope that Rengoku would give in to being a demon. Dead, you're finished, Kyojuro. Give in. Say you'll become a demon. But then, the more Akaza looked, the more he realized that his arm wasn't really protruding through his stomach. It only looked as such. Akaza was extremely confused, and so was Rengoku. He pulled back his bloodied arm to see that it had been cut off cleanly, and the bone was very visible. He looked off to the side and saw the rest of his arm sitting on the floor. What the hell? Who did that? It definitely wasn't Kyojuro, so who could it have been? Both Akaza and Kyojuro saw Tanjiro standing off to the side. He looked different. He had the mark coming down his face, and his hair was slightly off as well. Fire was surrounding him entirely, and his aura was different as well. He breathed out very calmly, with a deadpan expression on his face. Fuuu. Tanjiro looked onward as Rengoku and Akaza were battling intensely. He looked extremely worried and was shaking frantically. Sweat beads were dripping down his face, showing his panic. What should I do? I have a feeling Rengoku is going to lose. I'm not sure why, but my instinct is screaming at me to do something. But what? In a drawn-out fight between a human and a demon, humans are always at a disadvantage if their opponent is similar strength. Rengoku's strength won't last until sunrise. So hurry. Take him out fast. If I don't hurry, Rengoku might lose. Calm down. Just calm down. Tanjiro closed his eyes to try and calm his nerves. Think. Don't panic. My nerves are getting the best of me right now. I noticed something while they were fighting. Akaza's attacks are always super accurate, more than should be possible, even for a demon. Tanjiro remembered what Akaza said before they started fighting. I can tell you're strong, you know. You've developed your fighting spirit to the edge of perfection. Wait, fighting spirit? What does that mean? Just like I can sense something by smell. Can Akaza sense fighting spirit? Tanjiro's memory of a silly conversation with Inosuke not too long ago popped into his head. Both Tanjiro and Inosuke were conversing about how he loved defeating demons and how it was his only pleasure in life. Tanjiro felt that the conversation was a little too childish for his age, but he didn't want to make Inosuke feel bad, so he let him talk. Inosuke was giggling slightly from praising himself. I feel a tingle where an opponent is aiming. My hide is stronger than a human's, so even if it's from behind, if someone looks at me, I know they're looking. Why don't you try it on me? Tanjiro laughed at Inosuke's childish behavior, but decided to play along. Inosuke flipped himself to face the other direction from Tanjiro's bed that he was laying in. Okay, sure. Tanjiro stared intensely at his right shoulder. Inosuke could feel a slight tingle right where Tanjiro was looking. You're looking at my right shoulder. Wow, you're right. If someone is looking at me with the intent to kill, I can tell right away. If something is going to hurt me, it's dangerous. Their intent stabs right into my hide. But on the other hand, when someone doesn't have any hostility, it's really hard to notice. That little hag. That old hag in the Wisteria Crest house was the worst. Suddenly she was sitting behind me, making rice balls. And I didn't even notice. Don't say hag. Say elderly lady. Hag lady. Hey. Inosuke stood up on Tanjiro's bed and flailed his arms around to make a punching motion. so I figured that if I got close to my opponents without showing any hostility, they wouldn't notice. Then there would be no one that I can't kill. Gahaha, but that was because that elderly lady didn't have any intention to harm you, right? I think it would be impossible to kill a demon without any hostility. Inosuke stopped moving as he thought about what Tanjiro just said. Yeah, I guess that's right. A weak blow without any hostility won't cut through a demon's neck. Tanjiro was brought back to reality as he finished remembering that conversation. It was a silly conversation, but I feel like there was some kind of point to it. What is the fighting spirit that Akaza senses? Is it different from intent to kill? Is it the will to fight? Time spent training? The intensity from training? Is it similar to how I can predict attacks by smell? Could there be a way to interfere with it? As Tanjiro was absorbed in thought, he looked up again to see Akaza and Rengoku still fighting. He saw how Rengoku threw his sword completely in Akaza's blind spot, and there was no way he could have seen it coming. Yet, Akaza caught Rengoku's sword from behind him and threw a punch that Rengoku had to dodge. Tanjiro's eyes went wide as his mind finally connected the dots. Battle spirit, magnet, compass, instinct, murderous intent, impossible supreme territory. I get it now. So that's what's happening. Tanjiro's mind recalled a very important memory from way back in the past. It was when his father was still alive. It was snowy winter again. Almost unbearably cold too. Tanjiro was still a young boy and his father was teaching him about the Hinokami Kagura dance. My father was like a plant. He wasn't temperamental at all. He was always calm. Even when he got sick before he died, that didn't change. When I think of my father, the first thing that comes to mind is his gentle smile and calm voice, like a flowing river. The Kagura that our family performed was done for generations in our bloodline. It's really demanding. It lasts from sunrise to sunset. There are 12 routines performed continuously until sunrise. Tanjiro was sitting beside his father helping him make sandals from rope. Adu-san, if it's too hard for you, I can take your place to perform the Kagura dance starting next year. I'm worried about your health. Thank you, Tanjiro. But, for the last few years, I haven't felt the Kagura was difficult. It's strange really. When I first just learned the Kagura from your grandfather, I was younger, healthier, and stronger than now. But back then, I ran out of breath and found it hard. I suppose that was because I made a lot of unnecessary movements. What's important is proper breathing and proper control, making the most efficient moves to exert the greatest amount of strength. When you do that, your head gradually becomes clear. Clear, yes. In the beginning, you must learn the moves and sensibilities. You must pick them up. You open your 5 senses, becoming conscious of your own body down to each and every blood vessel. This period is truly strenuous, and you will think that no matter how much you struggle, you will not be able to go further. After you have learned and absorbed many things, you cut away what is unnecessary. You leave only what is necessary in your movement and close yourself off. Close? What do you mean? When people try to listen closely, they close their eyes, right? Right? So in the same way, you focus on what is most necessary in that movement. Before long, you become able to open and close the blood vessels and muscles throughout your body as quickly and easily as blinking. Then you can open an illuminated path. When your head becomes clear, you begin to see the transparent world. However, you only reach this domain because you've pushed yourself to the limits of your strength. Tanjiro smiled brightly as he was very invested in this conversation. Am I able to go there too, Adu-san? His father pats his head while also smiling. If you keep working diligently, then yes. 10 days before he died, a bear attacked and ate someone on the next mountain over. We lit watchfires and hung ropes with bells around the house to tell us if the bear got near. Tanjiro's whole family was sleeping peacefully when his father awoke suddenly. His eyes shot open and he stood up from his futon. Tanjiro's eyes fluttered open as he was still half asleep. Yes, come with me. Tanjiro rubbed his eyes as he wondered where his father was going to take them. He put on another layer of clothing to not get cold from the freezing temperatures outside. His father led him away from their house to a spot nearby where they encountered the bear. Tanjiro was scared out of his mind. Sweat bullets dripped down his face as he could only stand there and watch his father approach the bear. Standing up, the bear was massive, maybe close to 3 meters tall. This bear had killed and eaten 6 people. It was on the other side of the ropes with bells. Somehow, my father knew the bear was there, even without the bells ringing. My father was ill, but faced the bear only with a single axe. We didn't own a hunting rifle. Tanjiro's father looked up at the bear with a deadpan expression. And sorry you're hungry ... but I will not let you come any closer. I will show no mercy to anyone who would harm my family no matter the cost. Heed my warning, or I will take your life. He lifted his arm and faced the axe towards the bear, threatening to kill it if it got near. Tanjiro was still shaking behind a tree, unsure of what to do. Odu-san, what should I do? The bear stood there unmoving for a couple of seconds before deciding to attack. He lunged towards Tanjiro. In a split second, he jumped into the air and slashed at the bear's head, making it fall to the ground. The head of the bear, which was the size of a human body, thumped to the ground together with the bells. I couldn't follow him with my eyes very well, but I think my father chopped him twice in the span of a blink. He had to, or it would have been impossible to chop its head off with an axe that size. My father's smell never wavered. There was no hesitation or fear in him before or after cutting the bear's head off, nor was there any intent to kill. He just stood there with his usual plant-like presence. Tanjiro turned around and looked at his son. Did you see that? Tanjiro was still petrified, almost unable to speak from the shaking. I did. I saw. Odu-san ... Are you okay? I'm fine. Don't ever forget what you just saw. They both embraced each other in a tight hug. My father wasn't the kind of person who would show off his strength for fun. And I realized after the fact that what he did was effectively a form of perception training. I was supposed to learn from the defensive movements of my father, who could see into the see-through world. My father, grandfather, and great-grandfather must have learned this in the exact same way. Don't ever give up. Just keep thinking about it, Tanjiro. If you keep working hard and never slack off, you can tear down any wall that you may face. Tanjiro was brought back to the present where Rengoku and Akaza were still fighting intensely. I understand now, father. That's why Akaza could block an attack from Rengoku, who was completely in his blind spot. Sorry, Inosuke. I doubted you back then, but you were probably right. Hurry. While Rengoku-san is fighting him, I will use this to the best of my ability and defeat Akaza. Tanjiro breathed out slowly as he finally found what he needed to win. The mark on his forehead changed as well. When I entered the see-through world my dad taught me about, my movement intuition and evasion speed increased dramatically. I could observe the movements of my opponent's lungs and hearts and other contractions of their blood vessels. And I saw the contractions of their muscles more clearly and quickly too. I might be able to aim for Akaza's head if I close off this battle spirit that Akaza is probably detecting. Both Akaza and Rengoku were stunned by how Tanjiro was there. He looked different, calm and collected. Akaza was the most shocked. Every single cell in my body is telling me to kill this kid right now. Something about him changed. This is bad. Akaza got in his compass needle stance and waited for Tanjiro to attack so he could block and attack back. But Tanjiro stood there unwavering in his aura. So this is what Odu-san was talking about. The transparent world ... It's the exact same thing I saw when fighting Jiyu for the first time. And also when fighting Shinobu during our spar. This is strange ... Time is passing slowly ... Or does movement just look slow? Akaza was trying to make sense of what was going on with Tanjiro. It's fine. Even if he seems different, he's still just another weakling for me to crush. My destructive death compass needle can detect any attack. The stronger my opponent's fighting spirit, the stronger the response on my compass needle ... What is this odd aura about him? It's like he's become a different creature. His ... His fighting spirit is gone. He has no fighting spirit. How? Get a grip. Here he comes. In the span of less than a second, Tanjiro flipped sideways into the air, and his sword lit ablaze, ready for his attack. Hinokami Kagura, setting sun transformation. He swung his sword with all his might straight through Akaza's neck. Akaza could not believe his head had been cut through so cleanly. Impossible. As Tanjiro landed on the ground after separating Akaza's head from his shoulders, he tried to catch his breath as he saw Akaza's body slowly starting to crumble away. Tanjiro's fatigue finally caught up to him and he kneeled on the ground out of breath. My lungs feel like they're on fire. It hurts. Rengoku was still trying to process what just happened when he looked downwards to see Tanjiro on the ground. Kamado ... Are you okay? Rengoku-san ... Yes ... I'm fine. I just ... Need to catch my breath ... Go see if the others ... Are okay. My vision's going blurry ... My head hurts. I probably put so much effort into one attack that I completely drained all the energy I had left. Tanjiro tried to stand up but his legs felt wobbly and fell to his knees again. Oh man ... This is worse than I thought. If I don't do something quick, I'll... Tanjiro's head hit the ground as was knocked unconscious from his fatigue. His body just couldn't spend energy it didn't have. So far, since the fight with Akaza ended, his body had been running on an empty tank, and its extra reserve fuel just ran out. Rengoku ran over to Tanjiro as he was just about to check on Tanjiro's friends and all the other passengers of the train. "Kamado, are you okay?" He didn't get a response as he figured Tanjiro was knocked out. No wonder he's unconscious. That was Upper Moon 3 he just killed. With only one attack as well. Kid's got talent. A lot of it too. I'll be by your side until the Kakashi arrives. Tanjiro's eyes slowly fluttered awake as regained consciousness. He sat up and looked at the room he was in. This is the Butterfly Estate. The medical ward. I must have been knocked out. At least the pain is gone. Tanjiro pulled the covers off himself and stood up from the bed, before experiencing a sharp pain in his chest and he fell to the floor. Arg. Tanjiro put a hand to his right chest, where he felt the pain, and tried to regain his balance. So much for not having pain. Did I break a rib or something last night? Ai walked into the room and saw Tanjiro struggling on the floor and helped him up. Tanjiro, oh, Ai, thanks. Hey, it's nothing. But you shouldn't try walking just yet. You broke 2 ribs. Yep, guessed it. It's fine, Ai. I can endure it. Ai turned away as she blushed a little. How can he be so strong? Ugh, I love him. If only I could tell him how I feel. She tried to shake it off before remembering something. Oh right, Tanjiro, you should go visit Shinobu-sama. She says she has some important news to tell you. Oh, she does. Okay, I'll go see her then. Tanjiro walked out of the room still clutching his chest as he endured the pain. He knocked on Shinobu's office. He heard her soft voice through the door. Yes, who is it? It's Tanjiro. Ai said you have some important news to tell me. Oh, of course. Tanjiro heard some shuffling before she opened the door. I won't take too much of your time, Tanjiro. Come in. Tanjiro sat on the chair in front of Shinobu. So how long ago did you wake up? Not too long. A couple minutes at most. I noticed you have been clutching your chest this entire time. You okay? Oh right. Ai told me I have 2 broken ribs from last night's mission. I see. How much pain are you in right now? Quite a bit, but I'll deal with it. What about Rengoku-san? I saw that he had quite severe injuries. Yes, unfortunately, Rengoku has a smashed left eye and won't be able to see out of it forever. But he's still alive, thankfully. Oh, that's good. So what was the news you wanted to tell me? Right? The master said he wanted to see you and us Hashira as soon as possible. I have to go to the Demon Slayer HQ with you later today. Oh really? For what reason? I'm not sure. The master didn't specify. That's odd. It is. But do you mind telling me what happened on the mission last night? Sure. We were riding the train when we encountered Lower Moon 1. I managed to defeat him, but then Rengoku-san encountered Upper Moon 3. Upper Moon 3? What was Upper 3 doing there? I'm not sure, but he and Rengoku started fighting. So I assume Rengoku won then. It's impressive that he managed to escape with his life still intact. Actually, no. I saved him. You did? Yeah. I cut off Upper Moon 3's head off. I'll explain the details later, but I remembered something my father said and used it to the best of my ability. Wow. So you defeated Upper Moon 3. Impressive. Well, I guess it's to be expected, since you took down me in a spar. Albeit, a friendly spar, but a spar nonetheless. Yeah, I don't mean to be cocky, but I am pretty strong if I do say so myself. I don't doubt that. Change into your Slayer uniform and let's head out for the meeting. Right? Both Tanjiro and Shinobu walk into the HQ together and see the other Hashira waiting for them. Rengoku is also there with a bandage over his eye. Tanjiro walked over to him happy to see him. Rengoku-san. Kamado, how are you doing? I'm doing great. What about you? I'm doing great as well. This eye injury is nothing to worry about. I still have my other one after all. That's great, Rengoku-san. I'm glad you're okay. Indeed. But do you know what this meeting is for? The master said it's in regards to you. Not a clue. Shinobu told me that the master just wanted everyone gathered here for some important news. Yes, that was what I was told as well. Let's wait for the master and what he has to say. Tanjiro walked over to the other Hashira lined up making small talk waiting for the master. After a couple minutes, he walked out, being supported by his 2 children. All the Hashira, including Tanjiro, kneeled down. Tanjiro grunted in pain slightly because of his broken ribs. Good afternoon, my children. The weather feels nice today. Mitsui spoke up nervously. It's good to see you in good health, master. You as well, Mitsui. I have some important news to tell you all. It's regarding Tanjiro. Tanjiro, why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened yesterday on your mission with Rengoku? Of course. We were riding the train when we encountered Lower Moon 1. I managed to defeat him, but then Rengoku-san encountered Upper Moon 3. All the Hashira were surprised hearing this. They fought for a while, before Rengoku was in a situation where he was going to lose. I stepped in and defeated upper 3 for him. It was quite hard, but I endured. Thank you, Tanjiro. With you defeating lower moon 1 and upper moon 3, that promotes you to a higher rank. Hey, Tanjiro, you are now rank Hashira. Congratulations. Tanjiro, you are now rank Hashira. Congratulations. Tanjiro was speechless. All the Hashira were looking at him wide-eyed. Did Master say Hashira? I'm a Hashira now. What? So to the rest of the Hashira, please welcome Tanjiro Kamado with open arms and show him a friendly environment. Tengen was the first to approach Tanjiro. Way to go, Kamado. Rank Hashira, huh? Welcome to the big leagues, kid. Very flashy indeed. Oh yeah, thanks. Yubayashiki spoke up again. So Tanjiro, what would your title be called as Hashira? Huh? Title? Yes. Just like Rengoku is named the Flame Hashira, and Iguro is named the Serpent Hashira. What would you like for your title to be called? Remember, it can't be changed once chosen. Right? I need to come up with a title ... but what should it be? Hinokami Hashira, Kagura Hashira. I don't know ... Can I even use those words, since they're just from my family's ritual dance? About that, I haven't come up with something yet ... Is there a way to give my answer tomorrow? I need some time to think. Yubayashiki sat there for a couple of seconds thinking over Tanjiro's request. Alright, I'll allow it. Come back to me for your answer in 24 hours. That is all for this meeting. Have a splendid day to the rest of you. Yubayashiki stood up with the help of his children and walked back to his room. Tanjiro stood up with his head still in shambles, trying to process how his life would be different now that he's a Hashira. But Rengoku walked over to him as he was about to leave. Kamado, I would like to invite you over to my estate. Would you like to come? Oh, Rengoku-san. Sure, I'd love to come. I have a little brother named Sanjiro. I'm sure you'd love to meet him. Oh, okay. He sounds nice. Sure, I'll meet him. I'm good with little siblings because I have a little broth. Tanjiro trailed off as he looked off to the side, not bothering to finish his sentence. Well, I used to have a little brother. My condolences, Kamado. Thanks. Anyways, I'll walk you there, okay? Sounds good. As Tanjiro and Rengoku were about to leave, Tengen called out for the both of them. Wait up, you two. Where do you think you're going? I have an idea. Both of them stopped walking and turned around to see Tengen running towards them with a beaming smile. Why don't we throw a party for you, Kamado? It's gonna be very flamboyant. Oh sure, Tengen. But I'm going to Rengoku's house today. Maybe tomorrow. Alright, it's settled then. Meet me at my house tomorrow around noon. It'll be one hell of a flashy party. Can't wait. Tengen walked off to the other Hashira to tell him of the idea. Tanjiro chuckled at the slightly silly antics of Tengen. Is he always like that? Rengoku only nodded, knowing Tengen's personality for years. Yep, I can't lie, he's quite a handful. No idea how he got 3 wives. Tanjiro was taken slightly aback at that comment. He's got 3 wives. Indeed. Personally, I think 1 is more than enough. Man, what a guy. Also, I remember what you told me on the train yesterday about your father's dance. Yeah, what about it? I think I remember a book my father used to read often. I think it's related to what you told me. Alright, I'll take a look at it. Tanjiro and Rengoku walked for quite a bit, conversing on how Tanjiro's life would change drastically now that he's a Hashira and how he has new duties that he needs to fulfill. Both of them arrived with Rengoku opening the gate to see Sanjiro sweeping the yard with a broom. Aniki, you're back. Hello, Sanjiro. How have you been? I'm fine, but what about you, Aniki? What's with the bandage on your eye? Oh, I injured my eye on my mission yesterday night, but I got saved from this boy. This is Kamado. Tanjiro walked up to Sanjiro and gave him a handshake. Hello, I'm Tanjiro Kamado. Nice to meet you. Hi, and Sanjiro. So you saved Aniki yesterday. Thank you for letting my brother live to see another day. I'm very grateful to you. Sanjiro bowed to show his thanks. It's no problem really. I was just doing my job. Still, thank you. Would you like me to make you some tea? Sure, I'd love to. Sanjiro ran inside happily and Tanjiro and Rengoku followed. They both sat down in the living room and got comfortable. Sanjiro returned with 2 steaming hot cups of tea. Thank you, Sanjiro. Thanks. Sanjiro left the room for them to converse peacefully. If you need something, just let me know. Tanjiro smiled brightly. So that's your brother Rengoku-san. Indeed. He's got a nice charm to him. Bright kid. Also another thing. You can drop the honorific when referring to me. We're comrades now, right? Right? Oh, let me go grab that book for you. Rengoku stood up and left the room, leaving Tanjiro to be with his own thoughts. He blew on the hot tea and sipped on it. It's been quite a while to just sit and relax, huh? It's only been a little under half a year since my family is gone and I've had almost no time to just sit back and chill for a little. My life is so hectic. Tanjiro sighed before Rengoku returned with the book. Here, thanks. Tanjiro flipped through the pages briefly seeing how much reading he had to do. He closed it and looked at the title. The Guide to Sun Breathing. That's weird. Is this the same sun breathing that Tameo told me about? I'll read the book later. Rengoku also pulled something else from his pocket. It was wrapped up in some cloth so Tanjiro couldn't tell what it was. Also, I'd like for you to have this. He took it from Rengoku's hand and opened the cloth. It revealed to be Rengoku's handguard that he uses on his sword. Wow, Rengoku, this is your handguard. I can't accept this. Rengoku pushed it back into Tanjiro's hands as he tried to give it back. Please, I want you to have it. Think of this as my thanks for saving my life. Besides, this is my spare handguard so I didn't have to take off the one on my sword. So, please have it. I want you to always think of me when you go into battle. You also use fire in your breathing style so I think it would suit you. Tanjiro was torn over whether to accept or deny it. Ultimately, he decided to keep it. Okay, fine. I'll take it. Thank you. I will always think of you. Tanjiro took the handguard, wrapped it back into the cloth and pocketed it. He felt happy that Rengoku was giving him something so precious. Rengoku took a sip of his tea and put it down. Kamado, I have to ask you something. Yeah, what is it? Do you think I should retire? What? What are you saying? I'm saying, I think my time as a slayer is over. I can't see from my left eye. Most of my abdomen muscles are torn and won't heal properly. If I continue fighting, I might just recklessly kill myself because of my permanent injuries. So, what do you think? I'll do whatever you think is right. Should I retire or not? Tanjiro looked off to the side unsure of what to say. He rubbed the back of his neck thinking of the options. Should he really retire? What he is saying is logical after all. It would be dumb if he went back into combat and recklessly got himself killed. But then again, he has a lot of skill as a Hashira. I'm not sure. What should I say? Should I retire or not? What do you think, Kamado? I think you should, Rengoku. No disrespect to you, of course, but with your permanent injuries. It's better for you to not be reckless. Retire in peace, Rengoku. Tanjiro smiled warmly to try and lift Rengoku's spirits. It worked somehow. Thank you, Tanjiro. You're much wiser than you look, you know that. Thanks. Tanjiro stood up feeling like he had done everything he needed to in this house. I'm going to go now, okay? Sure. Would you like me to walk you back to Kacho's estate? No, I'm fine. By the way, I can keep this book, right? Tanjiro picked up the book Rengoku handed him earlier off the table. Oh yes, of course. I'm sure my father wouldn't mind. This is your father's. Indeed. Shouldn't I ask him if I can keep it since it's his? No, just take it. He doesn't even read it that often anymore. Okay. Tanjiro picked up his sword from the floor and put it firmly on his waist. I guess I'll be heading out then. See you at that party tomorrow that Tengen mentioned. Of course, I'll announce my retirement to the rest of the Hashira at the party. Until then, keep it between us, okay? Sure. Tanjiro was about to open the door to leave, but it opened before he could grab it. A man looking just like Rengoku, but taller, walked through the door. He was holding a porcelain flask filled with sake. Kyojiro, I need you to. The man saw the unknown boy standing in his living room with Rengoku still sitting idly by at the table on the floor. He pointed at Tanjiro. Kyojiro, who is this, and why is he in our living room? Oh, Adu-san, this is the new Hashira member, Tanjiro Kamado. Tanjiro bowed in front of Rengoku's father. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm acquainted with your son. Another Hashira? Huh. I can't believe they're getting anyone to fill in Hashira spots now. They must be very desperate. Tanjiro almost couldn't believe what he was hearing. Excuse me, you heard me. The Demon Slayer Corp is going to shit if they're getting weak Hashira like you. Tanjiro's eye twitched in annoyance. He had to control his anger rising any further because this was his friend's father and he didn't want to disrespect him. Then again, he wasn't getting any respect back, so why should he bother? I'll have you know I saved your son from being killed yesterday. My mission was very difficult. You should be grateful. That doesn't surprise me. My son is so weak anyways. Tanjiro had a hard time believing that this was Rengoku's father with how rude he was. He got fed up with how much he was bad-mouthing his comrade. That's enough. I won't let you talk bad about my friend. You better shut up and leave right this second. Why, you little. The man saw Tanjiro's earrings and dropped the sake flask and it crashed into many pieces on the floor. Why do you have those earrings? Tanjiro immediately calmed down by his odd question. Oh, these. It was a memento from my father. Apparently, it's been passed down from my family for a really long time. Are you a user of the sun breath? Another person mentioned sun breathing. First Tameo and now Rengoku's dad. Weird. I don't think so. I use something called the Hinokami Kagura. It's a ritual dance from my family that I managed to adapt into a breathing style. Rengoku was still sitting at the table, unsure of how to intervene in the bickering between his father and Tanjiro. Kyojiro ... What demon did you encounter yesterday on your mission? Oh, it was. Tanjiro, what was the first demon's rank? Lower Moon 1. Right, it was Lower Moon 1 and Upper Moon 3. Shinjiro's eyes went wide as he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Upper ... Moon ... 3 ... And you said this boy saved you. Indeed, he's incredibly strong. Probably more than me. Don't go against him, Adu-san. He stayed quiet, wondering the limits of Tanjiro's strength. Tanjiro walked past Shinjiro and waved to Kyojiro. I wouldn't want to overstay my welcome. I'll be leaving now. See you tomorrow, Rengoku-san. Rengoku waved back while smiling. See you, Tanjiro. Tanjiro walked through the door and closed it. He left the house with the book Rengoku gave him. Looks like I got a lot of reading to do tonight. After a couple of hours, Tanjiro finally made it back to the Butterfly Mansion. He walked through the front gate and noticed Ai in the yard doing some sweeping. Hey, Ai, I'm back. Ai turned from hearing Tanjiro's voice and blushed slightly just from seeing him. Hi Tanjiro. He walked into his room and saw Zenitsu and Inosuke both sleeping on their beds. Hey Zenitsu. Hey Inosuke. How are you two doing? Zenitsu rolled over in his bed. Oh, Tanjiro. I'm okay. And Inosuke. He's fine. He's just sleeping right now. Oh, I see. You've been gone since yesterday's mission. Where were you? It's been pretty hectic. I had to go to the Demon Slayer HQ today, and then later I went to Rengoku's house. He invited me there. What were you at the HQ for? Tanjiro put down Nezuko's box beside his bed. I got a promotion. I'm a Hashira now. Zenitsu blinked a few times trying to process what Tanjiro just said. Hey, a Hashira. You know ... like the highest rank in the Demon Slayer Corps. I know what a Hashira is. So why are you confused? Because how are you a Hashira? I defeated Upper Moon 3 yesterday. Don't you remember? Upper Moon 3 was there. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't see Upper Moon 3, did you? No, of course I didn't. Well, he appeared out of nowhere after I defeated Lower Moon 1 and I had to help Rengoku out. He was about to die, you know. He was. Yeah, I'm glad I stepped in on time. So what are you the Hashira of? I haven't figured that out yet. I have until tomorrow to figure that out. Tanjiro pulled out the book that Rengoku gave him. I'm hoping this book that Rengoku-san gave me can help. Okay, I'm still kinda tired from our mission, so I'm gonna get some sleep. Okay, Tanjiro. Sure. Tanjiro put the book down on his little nightstand beside his bed. He also pulled out the wrapped up cloth that he received. He opened it to see the handguard Rengoku got him one more time. I'll put this on my next sword, Rengoku-san. I promise. After taking a quick bath, he walked back into his room, not wearing his Corps uniform anymore. He slid into bed and opened the book. He turned to the first page and started reading. Fourth page. I almost killed him, but he split his body into multiple tiny pieces. I tried to cut them all, but I failed and he survived. There was a demon girl with him. I think her name was Tameo and she had sad eyes. Then I heard from my comrades that my twin brother Michikatsu had become a demon. I was ridiculed for not killing Kibutsuji when I had the chance, letting Tameo escape, and for my brother becoming a demon. I was banished from demon slaying. Some even said I should commit suicide. I think I was born with special strength for the purpose of defeating Muzan Kibutsuji. But I was lacking. In the end, I failed. Because of that, many more people will die. And that pains me. Fifth page. I saved Sumiyoshi Kamato shortly after from one of my missions, and he took an interest in me, so much so that he invited me over to his house frequently and befriended me. Though I might not show it much, I appreciate him. I gave him my Hanafuda earrings and showed him sun breathing as a token of friendship. Sixth page. Here's an entire list of sun breathing and all of its contents. First form, dance, a singular downwards vertical slash in an arcing motion. Second form, clear blue sky, a spin and twist of the upper body in a circular motion, releasing a 360 slash. Third form, raging sun, 2 consecutive horizontal arcing slashes around themselves to strike incoming attacks. Fourth form, burning bones, summer sun, a singular slash utilizing a spiraling motion which extends in front of themselves to defend from imminent frontal attacks. Fifth form, setting sun transformation, a backflip into the air before performing a singular horizontal slash which aims to decapitate the target. Sixth form, solar heat haze, rush forth, attempting to deliver a strike seemingly enveloped in a heat haze, masking the true length and location of the blade to deliver an unexpected strike. Seventh form, beneficent radiance, spiral into the air whilst performing a swirling slash upwards to strike the target. 8th form, Sunflower Thrust. Perform a singular thrust utilizing the tip of their blade to strike the target. 9th form, Sun Halo Dragon Head Dance. Assume a high stance before unleashing a number of consecutive slashes in a fluid motion in the form of a Japanese dragon made of solar flames. This technique is capable of decapitating multiple targets at once. 10th form, Fire Wheel. Flip into the air behind the opponent before unleashing a singular vertical slash in a circular motion to swiftly cut the target in half. 11th form, Fake Rainbow. Perform high-speed twists and rotations, creating afterimages that are primarily used for evading attacks. These afterimages are particularly effective against enemies with sharp vision. 12th form, Flame Dance, a two-strike combo which starts with a downward vertical slash leading into a horizontal slash right after. 13th form, continuously perform all 12 forms of sun breathing in repetitive succession to increase the accuracy and agility of its movements and attacks. End of book. Tanjiro blinked a few times after reading the last sentence. Holy shit. Yoriichi has had a really sad life. It matches up with what Tameo told me. Also the Hinokami Kagura I've been doing this entire time is sun breathing. Wow. Never knew. Also, I wonder what the 13th form would be for. Tanjiro rubbed his eyes from his fatigue and closed the book after reading it all in one sitting. I guess I should head to bed. Tanjiro slipped the book into his night drawer and tucked himself into his bed, letting his eyes close as he drifted to sleep. The next morning came and went as Tanjiro did his morning routine and training. He changed into his uniform and headed out to meet with Yoriichi. Tanjiro opened the gates to the HQ and saw all the Hashira eagerly waiting for him. Hey everyone, I'm here. Tanjiro smiled warmly as he greeted the other Hashira. He sat down beside Shinobu and made small talk with her, waiting for Yoriichi to arrive. After a couple of minutes, Yoriichi walked out being supported by his children, and sat down. Hello, my dear children. The sun is shining warmly, so it must be another beautiful day. Tengen spoke up this time to greet him. Master, it's great to see you doing well. Hello Tengen. Now let's not waste any time and get to the important matter at hand. Tanjiro, have you come up with a title for your Hashira rank? I have, Master. I wish to be called the Sun Hashira, so it shall be. The Sun Hashira. Welcome to your spot of the highest rank of demon slayers. You have my congratulations. The other Hashira clapped for Tanjiro and he felt a sense of pride he never felt before. It felt good for him to be held in such a high regard. Well, with that, there are no other important matters to discuss. Dismissed. All the Hashira, now including Tanjiro, stood up and bowed at Yoriichi. They all turned to leave, but Rengoku stopped Yoriichi from leaving. Master, may I have a word with you in private? Of course, Rengoku. Tengen called out for Rengoku. Hey Rengoku, we're going on ahead, okay? I'll meet you at my place later today for the party. Sure thing. See you then. Tengen turned around, continuing to walk away. He walked up to Tanjiro. Tanjiro, you're finally a Hashira now. How does it feel? Oh, Tengen. Yeah, it feels good. Really good actually. I bet it does. Remember, my place later today for the party. Wear something nice. All the rest of the Hashira are going. It's a welcoming party for you, so don't be nervous, okay? Right? See you then. Tanjiro walked back to the Butterfly Mansion to prepare for his welcoming party. Tanjiro walked into the Butterfly Mansion to get ready for his party. He saw Shinobu pass by and waved. He walked happily to his room to get changed. What should I wear? Oh, I have the perfect idea for this. As he walked into his room, he saw Zenitsu sitting right next to Nezuko's box and talking with her. He was very close to Nezuko, too close for Tanjiro's comfort. When he opened the door, Zenitsu was interrupted and glanced at Tanjiro. Oh hey, Tanjiro, what did I tell you about getting too close to Nezuko? Sorry, I wasn't bothering her though. Still, give her some personal space. Wait until she's human again, and then ask her to date you. No point in doing it now. She acts like a child. Wait, so you don't mind me dating Nezuko? Not really. Just give her personal space and we're fine. And don't act like a pervert. It's weird. You'll never be able to date her then. Ugh, that hurt. Your words are just as sharp as daggers. It's true though. Nezuko would be super weirded out if you acted like a pervert around her. Fine. But speaking of Nezuko being a human, you're really determined on doing that, huh? Of course. It will happen, whether in my lifespan or another's. You wouldn't want Nezuko to be a human before you die. Of course I do. I'm just acknowledging that it might not happen before I die. We're demon slayers, Zenitsu. We don't have a very high chance of even making it to retirement. That's true, I guess. Anyways, I have to go. Say hi to Inosuke for me. Where are you going? To a welcoming party at Tengen's estate. Party? What for? I just became a Hashira Zenitsu. Or did you forget already? Oh right. Technically, I'm your superior, so you need to be nice to me, haha. Aw, that's right. Sorry, Tanjiro-sama. It was a joke, Zenitsu. Don't ever use that honorific in my name. It sounds weird when you say it. Why? You're my friend. Friends shouldn't use that honorific. Stick to san, kun, or no honorific at all. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, alright, I'm going to change and head out. See you. Bye, Zenitsu. Tanjiro walked out of his room grabbing the outfit he wanted to wear. He changed in the bathroom and left the estate on his way to Tengen's house. I don't mean to brag, but I think I look pretty good. After about an hour of traveling, Tanjiro arrived at Tengen's house and knocked on the door. An unknown woman opens the door. She was of average height and had dark flowing hair. She also had very big personality. Oh, are you Tanjiro? Please come in. Thanks. What's your name, by the way? It's Hinatsuru. Nice to meet you. Tengen and a few of the other Hashira are in the living room. Not all of them showed up yet, so please be patient. Thanks. Tanjiro walked in the hallway slightly lost because of how big Tengen's house was. Eventually, he found the living room door and walked in. The only people that were in the room were Tengen, Rengoku, and Seinmi. Tengen turned around enthusiastically when he heard the door open. Tanjiro, you're here. Yep. How are you doing, Tengen? I'm great. But more importantly, this night is about you. So get comfortable. Rengoku stood up and patted Tanjiro on the back. Tanjiro, glad you're here. It's gonna be a fun night, isn't it? I sure hope so. Tanjiro sat down beside Seinmi and gave him a friendly nudge. I didn't forget about you, Seinmi. How you doing? Hey, brat. I'm fine, I guess. Leave me alone. He still wants to kill me, doesn't he? Tanjiro looked at Seinmi and his murderous gaze as if to say, what you looking at, idiot? Yep, still wants to murder me. Tengen grabbed a sake flask and forced it into Tanjiro's hand while drinking his own. Tanjiro, have this. It's good. Oh, Tengen, I don't really drink. I'm underage. It's fine, it's fine. One night won't hurt, right? Tanjiro noticed Tengen's slightly slurred speech and his slight wobbling. He looked over to the table and saw 2 empty sake flasks. Is he already drunk? I wasn't even here yet and he started drinking already. Nice suit you have on, by the way. It's very flashy. Thanks. Tanjiro smirked that someone noticed his flamboyant suit. I have at least one suit for times like this. I got a dress to impress, right? Right? Tanjiro pulled on his glove to fit his hand more smugly. An hour went by with the 4 of them talking about random things while laughing over alcohol. Tanjiro was trying his best to control himself because he was underage, but even he started to grow fond of it. Mitsuri walked through the door with a bright smile. Behind her walked Inaguro. Tanjiro. Hello, Mitsuri. How are you? Great. I'm so excited for this party. She sat down in the corner when Inaguro walked right up into Tanjiro's face. Don't get all cozy with Mitsuri. I have my eyes on you. Sure. More hours went by as the Hashira trickled into the house. The last one to enter was Shinobu. She opened the door and Tanjiro noticed Kanao walk in behind her. That's odd. Kanao isn't a Hashira. Why is she here? Both Shinobu and Kanao walked over to Tanjiro. Hey Tanjiro, Shinobu, Kanao, how are you two doing? I'm quite well actually. Kanao silently raised a thumbs up because she was too nervous to say anything. She had a blank face like usual, but Tanjiro could notice her slight blush. 3 more hours went by with everyone having a great time. Even Tomioka was slightly enjoying it after wanting to go home for the first 2 hours. Tanjiro couldn't figure out why. Maybe because they were drunk, or maybe because he was just wearing a fancy suit. But both Shinobu and Mitsuri were practically clinging to him the entire night. They were by his side no matter where in the house he went to. Now he found himself in an odd situation to deal with. Both of them were holding his shoulders, whispering seductively in his ear. Both of their mouths were so close to his ears they were almost licking them. Tanjiro, have some more sake. I've been addicted to this stuff all night. It's really good. Tanjiro, did I mention that suit looked really good on you? Tanjiro didn't answer but just stayed silent, looking down, carrying a heavy blush on his face. As Kanao walked by, she noticed for the first time this night how much both women were clinging to Tanjiro. She gasped as she saw how she was losing her battle to the love of her life. Calm down. They probably aren't doing this intentionally. It's probably just the alcohol. They aren't controlling their actions because they're drunk. I know you like this, Tanjiro. Could you not? Both women were taken aback at his words. What? Both of you have been really close the entire night. My heart belongs to someone else. Sorry. Both of them looked sad but backed off. He stood up. I'm going to get some fresh air. Tanjiro walked out of the house onto the balcony. He sighed at how hectic this night was. He heard someone approach him from behind and he turned around. Tanjiro. He saw Kanao standing there. In the night's wind, her hair flowed like a streaming river. The moonlight somehow made her eyes sparkle. He could feel his heart skip a beat. Why yeah, this party has been really crazy, huh? Tanjiro turned back around and sighed again. Yeah, so, I have a question. What is it? Back there you said your heart belonged to someone else. Oh, you heard that? Yes, if you don't mind me asking, who were you mentioning? I can't say Kanao ... at least not yet. Oh, her face fell slightly as she was expecting an answer. I wish I could tell her. It's you Kanao. My heart throbs for you. Every time we talk or even when we just glance at each other, I feel my heart rate start to increase. I love you Kanao. I really do. Another hour passes as things start to wrap up. Everyone's drunk enough that they can barely walk straight. Even Tanjiro. He tried to control himself, but his desires got the better of him. He had his head stuck in a toilet for half an hour puking out the little amount of food that was served to him by Hinetsuru. Ugh ... man I shouldn't have drank that much ... my head feels all fuzzy. Kanao walked up to the bathroom door and knocked on it. Tanjiro, are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine ... just give me a couple minutes. I'll be out soon. Okay, I just wanted to let you know that most of us are leaving now ... also ... I'm worried about you. Thanks. Tanjiro flushed the toilet and some shuffling could be heard from the other side of the door. He opened it looking very groggy. Everyone exited the house slowly trying to walk upright. Jiyu was holding Tanjiro's arm around his shoulder as he helped him walk. You alright? Tanjiro just nodded silently. Once back at the butterfly mansion, Tanjiro could only flop on his bed while Zenitsu and Inosuke tried to talk to him. He ignored them from his grogginess and tiredness. He slowly drifted off to sleep. Tanjiro woke up the next morning with a searing pain in his head. He groaned out. Ugh. He turned over as his eyes forced him awake. But he wanted to go back to sleep. After a couple of minutes of contemplating whether or not to force himself back to sleep, he sat up in his bed. His head was fuzzy and he could barely see straight. He put out his numb legs to touch the floor. He stood up, just barely. He wobbled over to the bathroom and fell to his knees in front of the toilet. He could feel vomit erupting from within sooner rather than later. Then ... what the hell ... what happened last night? As he tried to recall the events of the previous night, nothing came up. It was like the last night never happened to his brain. Finally, he could feel the inevitability. Hot vomit spills into the toilet, splattering loudly. Even the tiny amount of food he ate last night was most definitely completely emptied from his stomach now. He didn't get sick very often, but when he did, he hated it. Every flu season comes with a minor cold for him, and that means his body freaks out and goes insane. He resented the fact every flu season came with uncontrollable vomiting, coughing, a dry throat, and worst of all, an unbearable fever. But it confused him. It wasn't flu season yet. That was months away. So why was he sick, he wondered. If only he could recall the events of last night, then it would give him his answer. Usually, when drinking alcohol for the first time, you're supposed to take it easy, drink lots of water, and have an adult nearby to control you. Tanjiro had none of these things. Almost the opposite actually. Tengen was encouraging him the entire night, only making his situation worse. At this point, Tanjiro knew there was nothing left in his stomach. But his body refused to believe that as he kept on gagging over top the toilet bowl. Please stop. He clings to the bowl in front of him, head aching from the pressure of forcibly heaving for over an hour. His fingers feel like ice now. He'd been begging his body to stop pointlessly gagging over a toilet when nothing came out. He was granted that wish. He stopped heaving for a couple of minutes, giving him peace of mind that his body relented. He stood up against the will of his unwanting legs and walked over to the sink. He looked in the mirror and saw how terrible he looked. Traces of dry puke were on the corners of his mouth. He washed it off, somewhat successfully. I really hope I don't get a mission today. I feel terrible. He finally got the energy to stand comfortably and stumbled out of the bathroom back into his room. I need to get some training done today. I haven't had the time to do that for. He counted the days since he last trained. The last time he got the time to train was before the Mugen train mission, 4 days ago. I'll try to train later. I'm tired. Tanjiro heard someone walk into the room but didn't bother looking up to see who it was. Tanjiro. He wasn't expecting it, but he heard the soft voice of the girl he loved. Every time she spoke it made Tanjiro's heart skip a beat. He so desperately needed to talk to someone like her. He coughed a couple of times before speaking. Why yeah. You okay? I'm fine. You sure? You haven't had breakfast? I'm worried. It's fine. If I eat something now, it will probably just come back up. Oh, the conversation seemingly ended. but Kanao still stood there looking worried. "See, can I ask you something?" "Sure, would you like to a festival with me?" Sure when. Today, Tanjiro blinked in confusion. He obviously would not have the energy to walk around for hours at a time, let alone a festival filled with other people, bright lights and loud sounds. "I'll make it work." "Sure, Kanao. I'd love to." "Great, thanks." Kanao walked away happily. "I'm going to confess today." "No doubt. I will confess to Tanjiro for sure." Hours later, Tanjiro finally stopped feeling so groggy. He found the energy to train, so he went out into the yard with Zenitsu and Inosuke. Kanao was idly sitting watching the trio get some training done. It was a very hot day outside, so the trio were shirtless, sweating buckets. Zenitsu and Inosuke were training, but they weren't as focused as Tanjiro was. Tanjiro was in the zone. At this point he was so in tune with his training. His movements were pretty much unconscious. He didn't even have to think about them. It's like his body knew what to do and executed it perfectly. When it came to sun breathing, his instincts took over and he reduced his brain power so that he was just doing his movements mindlessly on loop for however long he wanted. Another hour passed and Zenitsu and Inosuke called it quits. They were out of fatigue. Tanjiro stopped for a moment. Zenitsu walked up to him. "Tanjiro, me and Inosuke are tired. We're gonna head back inside." "Okay." "Sure. How much longer you gonna train for?" "Not sure. Maybe another half hour or so." "Okay." Zenitsu and Inosuke walked back into the mansion tired and covered in sweat. They both desperately wanted to clean off. Tanjiro looked down at his own body and saw that his sweat was starting to become sticky and cling to his body. "Gross. I'd better finish up here." Tanjiro raised his arm and wiped off the sweat dripping down his face. His breathing was heavier and ragged than usual. His earlier sickness went away, but it still affected his performance slightly. Kanao was still enjoying the afternoon heat by the side. Although she tried not to, she couldn't help staring at Tanjiro for almost the entirety of his training session. She trained earlier in the day, so her activities were done for the day. She would never admit it, but she really loved Tanjiro's muscular body and his scars. As Tanjiro tried to wipe off his sweat, her eyes never wavered off his body. She gasped slightly at just the thought of touching it intimately. "Oh." Tanjiro picked his sword from the ground and continued, much to Kanao's pleasure. Just by sitting and watching she had started to get hot and bothered. She really hoped Tanjiro didn't notice her staring and how flustered she was. But he did notice. He noticed the minute he took off his shirt an hour ago. How could he not? He saw the prying eyes of the woman he loved. He didn't mind though. He quite enjoyed it actually. Just by her watching. It gave him some extra motivation, if you know what I mean. Hours later Tanjiro had already taken a shower and it was almost time to leave for his date. He never really went to a summer festival before, but he's heard stories of how fun they are, so he doesn't doubt that it will be an enjoyable time. After all, he's going with the woman he loves, so how could he not have fun? That would be almost impossible. He'd already changed into his outfit of choice. It was a comfortable yukata that his mother gave him. She said to wear it when he goes to a summer festival with a nice girl. Looks like her wish is about to come true. If only she were here to witness it. Tanjiro walked up to Shinobu's office and knocked on it. He figured it would be wise to let Kanao's guardian know that he would be taking her to a summer festival alone with him. When he knocked, he heard no answer. A couple of seconds later he knocked again. Once again, no response. Is she in her room sleeping already? It's only 8 p.m. Then Tanjiro noticed how the door wasn't even fully closed. It was slightly left ajar, so he opened it. He saw Shinobu head first sleeping on a pile of paperwork. Shinobu. Again, no response. Shinobu. She jolted awake by the loud noise. Oh, Tanjiro. Silly me, looks like I got too tired dealing with this paperwork. Sorry about that. Alright, listen. Shinobu then noticed Tanjiro's stylish yukata. How nice yukata. What's the occasion? Yeah, about that. I'm going to a summer festival with Kanao tonight. Is that okay? It seemed that Tanjiro's words hadn't quite reached Shinobu's ears. She really hoped she heard that wrong. For Tanjiro's sake. Sorry, could you repeat that? I'm going to a summer festival with Kanao tonight. Is that okay? She had on her carefree smile like usual, but her eye twitched slightly. So I did hear him the first time. She stood up from her chair and put a hand on Tanjiro's shoulder. Sure, Tanjiro. Go on ahead. Thanks. She suddenly gripped his shoulder extremely hard. You better not do anything I wouldn't like, okay? If I hear that you abuse that girl, I'll kill you. Tanjiro shivered slightly. Scary. Of course. I wouldn't dream of it. She let go of his shoulder. Go on then. Have fun, but not too much fun, okay? Yep. Tanjiro walked out of her office and strolled out of the house to his destination. After a while of walking, Tanjiro arrived at the festival. It was full of people and bright lights. Before leaving, he contemplated bringing Nezuko with him, but he thought that spending a night alone with Kanao was just what he wanted. He saw Kanao in the distance fiddling with her hair. She noticed him at the same time he noticed her. He walked up to her. She was wearing a very beautiful yukata with a flower pattern. Whoa, pretty. Kanao blushed at his compliment. Are you talking about me or the festival? Both. I also like your yukata, Tanjiro ... It's nice. He chuckled slightly and grinned. Thanks. Did you wait long for me? No, not really. That was a lie. Kanao had been waiting over half an hour for Tanjiro. She was nervous, so she got there really early. She only lied because she didn't want Tanjiro to worry. When he entered the festival, he was handed a free dessert by the festival holders. It was a token of appreciation to show they valued every person who entered. His crow was also resting on his shoulders. Tanjiro didn't really mind. Kanao was also getting curious about that dessert since she didn't receive one. She arrived too early. Can I try that? It seems good. Of course. He sighed contentedly. He was going to enjoy this night to its fullest. Tanjiro wanted to get on with activities. All this waiting had made him impatient. Come on, Kanao. This will be fun. He grabbed her shoulder to pull her along, unknowing that it would fluster her more than she already was. So close. Tanjiro and Kanao were walking through the festival, both enjoying themselves. All the stalls around them were giving them a hard choice of what to do next. Should we get food first or play some festival games? Tanjiro thought about it for a moment. He'd barely eaten today at all. He skipped breakfast since he thought he would just puke it back up, and he only ate a couple of rice balls to not make Kanao worry. Both of them were very aware of each other's well-being. Let's get some food first, Kanao. I'm hungry. Sounds good. What would you like? Tanjiro looked around at the nearby food stalls. It took him a while to choose because most of them were either too greasy or just desserts. Oh, how about takoyaki? Good choice. They both walked up to the food stall and talked with the cook behind it. 2 servings of takoyaki, please. Coming right up. They both waited a couple of minutes before receiving the food. Tanjiro paid and they both walked off. He popped one of the takoyaki balls in his mouth. He gasped at how tasty they were. Wow, these are good. Kanao try one before it gets cold. She also popped one in her mouth. The sweet but savory flavor overjoyed her. You're right, it's good. Both of them enjoyed their hot meal while smiling and talking the entire way. Half an hour later, they both were looking for a game stall to play. Most of them were quite similar, so they both agreed to play Kingyo Sukui. They both walked up to the stall and Tanjiro bought a few paper scoops. He handed a couple to Kanao for her to try. She knelt down and carefully put the scoop in the water. She let a goldfish swim right above her scoop, and then she lifted it up carefully. But the fish wasn't having any of it. It thrashed around and broke the paper, splashing back into the water. Dang. She tried a couple more times but got the same result in the end. Okay, let me try now. Tanjiro knelt down above the huge fish tank where other people were also trying to scoop up fish. He focused as hard as he could to be as precise and careful as possible. He saw a fish not moving very much and he put it just below it. He lifted it up very slowly, trying not to cause the fish much commotion. It didn't thrash around and he got the fish. Kanao, I got it. She smiled at how happy and bright he was. The stall owner handed him a bag and he scooped up some water and put the fish in there. He tied it up with some string to secure it. It's so small, isn't it, Kanao? She just nodded gleefully. Hours had passed by now and they had picked up some more desserts and played some more games. They were having the time of their lives. Both of them couldn't think of anything but each other and the festival. Both of them noticed how some people were running in the same direction. A lot of other people followed. Where are they all going in such a rush? They overheard another group of friends running with the big crowd. Come on, we're gonna miss the fireworks if we don't hurry. Tanjiro smiled upon hearing this. There's fireworks. Kanao, come on, let's go watch the fireworks. I wanna see them. He grabbed her hand and pulled her along, running with the rest of the crowd. She looked down and noticed how tightly he was holding her hand. He's holding my hand so warm. They both caught up to where the crowd was running and looked around, waiting for the fireworks to start. This is exciting, isn't it, Kanao? Yeah, I had never seen fireworks before. Me neither. A couple of minutes passed and they were still idly waiting for the fireworks show. At that moment, Kanao remembered the promise she told herself earlier in the day. Oh right, I totally forgot. I need to confess to Tanjiro. Before the fireworks start, I need to confess to him. Otherwise, it will be too loud and I won't get my chance. I have to do it. Muster up the courage. She turned and pulled on Tanjiro's sleeve of his yukata slightly. TT Tanjiro. He turned to look her right in the eyes. Yes, her face was bright red at this point. Her stuttering was uncontrollable to the point she could barely speak. I need to tell USS something. Go ahead. I'm listening. She could feel her heart going a million miles a minute at this point. Her head was starting to spin because of how nervous she was. Just do it. Tanjiro, I love you. His eyes went wide as he almost couldn't believe the words coming from her mouth. What? I love you, I love you, I love you. He stayed silent, not knowing how to answer. Please go out with me. Tanjiro could feel his face heat up too. His heart rate was starting to spike immensely. Kanao was still waiting for a response. What's your reply? Tanjiro looked confident. This is my reply. He grabbed her neck from behind and stared directly into her eyes, getting lost in the moment. Please don't hate me for this, Kanao. Tanjiro, what are yo? He closed his eyes and pulled both of their faces together. Their lips collided. Kanao almost didn't register what was really going on. Her eyes were still wide from the shock of being pulled close. In that moment, Tanjiro could feel the fireworks go off, not only right beside him, but also inside his heart. As Tanjiro pulled away from the kiss, Kanao was left standing there stunned. Did you like that, Kanao? In her flustered state, all she could do was nod. Does this mean we're dating now? Tanjiro nodded. If that's what you want, then yes. Yes, I do want to date you. Like I said, I really love you. I love you too, Kanao. Ever since we first met, you always made my heart flutter. Silence instilled between them as the moment got awkward. The fireworks were still being lit into the sky, exploding into many bright colors in the night sky, so Tanjiro turned to watch them since he was interrupted by her confession. Kanao did the same. Both of them were trying to calm their racing heart and just enjoy the fireworks show. But they couldn't. All they could think about was that kiss. It wasn't very long, but it was oh so tender. Before this night, Tanjiro could only dream of kissing her plump lips. It seemed like a fantasy to him. But here he was standing beside his now girlfriend, whom he just kissed. He felt like he would wake up any second being reminded that this was all a dream. But it wasn't. He was internally screaming at how surreal this situation felt. Holy shit, I just kissed Kanao. Her lips were so soft. They both watched the fireworks with the rest of the crowd peacefully. The bright lights and shapes made them watch in awe. It was truly spectacular. After about 10 or so minutes, the fireworks stopped and some people started leaving. Tanjiro turned to face her. Do you want to leave now, or should we stay? I'm tired, so I think we should leave. Tanjiro nodded in agreement. Okay, let's go then. They both turned away from the pier they were watching the fireworks from and started walking away. Tanjiro kept on stealing glances at Kanao's hand. He wanted to hold it desperately, so he reached out very slowly and wrapped his fingertips around hers and clutched it tight. She looked at his face, but he turned away slightly embarrassed. He liked her hands, warm and not willing to let go, and neither was he. Her blush increased slightly at them holding hands. His hands are so warm. They both made it back to the butterfly mansion, still hand in hand. Tanjiro let go of her hand, much to Kanao's sadness, and he opened the gate to the estate. It was very late in the night now, way past midnight. Tanjiro walked inside the house, leading himself to his room. He got to his door and opened it. Then he noticed that Kanao had been following him all the way to his room. Oh right, I'm going to go to sleep, okay? She looked slightly sad that she couldn't spend any more time with him today, but she still nodded regardless. As he entered his room and closed it behind her, she stuck her foot in the door, preventing him from closing it. He opened the door again to see Kanao still standing there. Is something the matter? She looked off to the side, flustered. Can I sleep in your bed with you today? Tanjiro thought about his answer for a couple of seconds. Sure, I guess. She walked into the room and looked at him all embarrassed. Tanjiro noticed this. What? I need to change. I'll look the other way, please. Oh right. He turned around and sat down on the floor waiting for her to finish changing. A couple of minutes passed before Tanjiro spoke up. Can I look now? Yes. He stood up and he made Kanao do the same. She turned away from him and he changed out of his yukata. Once he was done, he got into his bed and invited Kanao in. Why, you can come into the bed with me now. She turned around and walked over to his bed. He scooched over to make room for her to sleep. His bed wasn't made for two people to sleep in, but they made it work. Kanao shuffled herself right up against him, making him the big spoon and her the small spoon. He put up his legs over top of her, locking her in the position she is in. Tanjiro was quite tired, so he closed his eyes slowly, hoping for sleep to take him. Within minutes, he was already asleep. Kanao wasn't so lucky. Her heart was still racing being cuddled by Tanjiro, but eventually they both managed to fall asleep. The next morning, Tanjiro's eyes fluttered awake. He looked over to the girl in his arms. She was still asleep. He wanted to get out of bed, so he tried moving his body without her realizing so she didn't wake up. He slowly moved her arms and legs over top him. She stirred quietly in her sleep. He realized he was moving her too much and went even slower. He climbed over her and finally got out of bed. He walked out of his room, giving Kanao some peace of mind. He made his way to the kitchen to see if breakfast had been served. Sure enough, Ai was there making breakfast for everybody in the house. Tanjiro was really craving an actual meal for once. In the past 2 days, he had eaten nothing but alcohol with some appetizers to go along with it, a single serving of takoyaki, and some sweet desserts after that. So his hunger was at an all-time high. He walked up behind her and grabbed a plate of food she set out. Thanks, Ai. Oh, of course, no problem. An hour later, Tanjiro finished up with his daily training and Kanao had just walked outside looking for him. He sheathed his sword and wiped the sweat from his forehead. He had a tendency to sweat a lot. It bothered him, but only slightly. He greeted Kanao and gave her a small kiss on the forehead. She was flustered by this but tried to play it off. He walked back inside the house wanting to shower and change. He overheard a conversation between Shinobu and Kanao as he ate some rice balls. Kanao, you were at the festival yesterday, correct? Why yes. How did you know? Tanjiro told me. He went with you, right? She nodded in response. Did anything eventful happen? Kanao's mind replayed her kiss with Tanjiro last night. She turned bright red but shook her head violently. Where were you when you came back? I checked your room but weren't there. She managed to squeak out a response, albeit stuttering the entire time. I was sleeping with Tanjiro. I in his BB bed. Shinobu blinked her eyes in confusion and shock. Me and Tanjiro started dating. You what? Since Tanjiro was overhearing this conversation, he could feel the anger rise in Shinobu's voice. Hello? Dating. Me and Tanjiro started dating. Is that fine? I suppose so. She walked off in Tanjiro's direction. As she walked by him, she muttered some words to him. You better take care of that girl. Scary. Of course, I will. The upper rank 2 demon was idly sitting in his room waiting for another one of his followers to enter so he could hear their painstakingly dull story. He sighed. I wish I could be going on a hunt for women right about now. Then suddenly he heard a biwa string play. He found himself sitting in the Infinity Castle in less than a blink of an eye. He looked around to see endless walls and corridors. Oh. Why am I here? He pieced together what his arrival at the Infinity Castle meant. Every time he's at this place, it only means one of 2 things. A new member is added to the Upper Moon demons, or an Upper Moon is killed. Usually, it's the former, but he didn't rule out the other option. He quickly jumped up to different platforms looking for the other Upper Moons. The first one he encountered was Upper Rank 5 just coming out of his pot. Dauma sure was happy to see him. Jayako, long time no see, huh? Is that a brand new pot? It's beautiful. Remember the one you gave me? I'm using it to display a woman's head. Fits perfectly. I never intended for it to be used like that. But I must say I'm intrigued. You'd love it. You should come to my place sometime. He saw the upper rank 4 cowardly sitting behind a staircase. As usual. Hey Hantengu, how is my lovely friend doing today? Dauma, ignored ... as usual. Dauma looked off to the side and in the corner of his eye, he saw both of the upper rank 6 standing in the corner on another platform minding their own business. Dauma hopped on over to the both of them and greeted them. She was still wearing her Warren outfit because she was teleported here so quickly. Hey Daki and Jutaro. Daki just ignored him but Jutaro didn't. Hey Dauma, do you know why we're here? He shook his head. No idea. Okay, I do. In the distance, they could both hear someone answering his question. It was upper rank 1. Haven't you felt it, Dauma? There is an upper rank among us missing. Dauma looked around and realized he was right. No ... my dear friend is gone ... how sad. Akaza, all of the remaining upper moons are gathered in one place. Then, they felt a new presence among them. It seems Lord Muzan has arrived. They all looked up to see their master, Muzan, fiddling with chemicals and test tubes. As you may have guessed, Akaza is dead. The upper ranks are incomplete now. Dauma tried to calm him. Oh, is that true, my lord? You have my sincerest apologies. I deeply appreciated Akaza. He was a good friend. Sure. Anyways, it's unfortunate that Akaza died. I had high hopes for him to become strong. Looks like I was wrong. He continued working on whatever chemicals he was mixing. Since Akaza is dead, I'll be changing the ranks. Anyone below him is now moved up one spot. Hantingu, congrats, you're upper 3 rank now. Same goes for the rest of you who are below. If it wasn't for that damned sun breather, then Akaza would be alive. It would be a waste of me to send upper 1 or upper 2, and then they get ruthlessly killed by that kid. I'd much rather keep my strongest fighters for now. As much as I hate it, I've got to admit, that kid that I met in Asakusa is incredibly strong. Maybe on par with Kokoshibo or Dauma. That's all I wanted to say to you all. Muzan instantly disappeared. The Biwa woman played her instrument and teleported everyone back to the spots they came from. Tanjiro was resting on the porch of the Butterfly Mansion after his mostly laid-back day. He was flipping through the book Rengoku gave him to suck up every bit of information he could remember. He wanted to be a Hashira that could be relied on. He had Kano's head in his lap. She was taking a quick nap because she was tired. He removed his Haori to cover her up and give her warmth while also caressing her shoulder. He felt so blessed to have such a cute and lovable girlfriend. But he was getting tired too since the sun was just about to set. As he tried to read through the book, he could feel his eyelids getting heavy. He rested his head on the column beside him and felt himself drift off to sleep. Half an hour goes by with both Tanjiro and Kanao in a light slumber. But then as he was sleeping, he could feel a weird presence. All he could feel was his earring being pulled every so slightly. His eyes shot open and looked around, seeing no one other than Kanao still sleeping on his lap. Weird. He unclipped one of his earrings and looked at it intently. His memory of his father giving him these earrings came flooding back. He could remember it so vividly as if it happened yesterday. He tried not to think about his father because it always made him sad. He clipped his earring back on his ear and went back to caressing Kanao. By now, the sun had set and the stars illuminated the night sky. He looked up to the night sky and sighed. He could hear some flapping from the distance and turned his neck to see none other than his crow. Kawa. It landed on his shoulder. Oh hey, Matsuman. What is it? You have a new mission. Go now. Southwest. Go southwest. Oh, a mission. That'll be my first one as a Hashira. Tanjiro lightly shook the sleeping Kanao, still with her head in his lap. Kanao, I need to leave. Can you get up please? She stirred slightly before raising her head and rubbing her eyes as she awoke. Tanjiro. He grabbed his Haori off of her and put it on. I have a mission, Kanao. You'll be fine for the rest of the night, right? She nodded but felt sad she wasn't going to sleep with him in bed today. He picked up his sheathed sword beside him and ran off, dashing out of the estate. He didn't even unlock the front gate and open it, he just jumped completely over it. Hut. He landed on the other side and started running at max speed towards his destination. After a while of running, Tanjiro was coming up to a forest filled to the brim with trees. As soon as he got close, he could smell demons and blood. There must be a squad of other demon slayers that got injured. Better hurry. He twisted and turned through the trees and he saw 4 slayers in an intense battle with a demon. It doesn't smell like a demon from the 12 Kazuki. The slayers must be weak if they're losing that badly. Tanjiro rushed in and popped his sword out his of sheath. He cleanly sliced through its neck without even the demon realizing. He stopped to check the slayer's condition. You guys alright? Hashira saved us. Tanjiro looked around the 4 slayers, briefly glancing to see any injuries. Looks like only a couple of shallow wounds. The coagulation will stop the bleeding in time. No need for me to perform medical attention. Looks like you guys are okay for the time being. I'll finish up here and the Kakashi will take care of you afterwards. They all nodded, trying their best not to disrespect a person of such high rank. Tanjiro could smell other demon presences, so he had to act quickly if he didn't want any fatalities. He ran off in search of the other demons, and within a minute he saw half a dozen slayers fighting with 2 demons. This one isn't a 12 Kazuki either. Man, are the slayers all this weak? Sun breathing. 9th form, Sun Halo Dragon Head Dance. His sword lit ablaze and he twisted his body before the slayers could even comprehend what happened. His sword cut through both of the demons' necks like a hot knife through butter. He stopped with his heels digging in the dirt because of how fast he went from max speed to 0. A Hashira. He saved us. What were those flames? So cool. Tanjiro didn't know what to do in this situation of so many people complimenting and thanking him all at the same time. Hey everyone. Several of them walked up to him in awe. Thank you so much for saving us. Yeah, I thought I was done for. Tanjiro rubbed the back of his neck, feeling embarrassed. You're welcome. But more importantly, is everyone here okay? He quickly scanned the group of half a dozen slayers and affirmed that they also had shallow injuries. We're okay. Thanks a bunch. But Shizuko isn't. The unknown slayer pointed to another slayer laying on the ground on his back, unconscious. Tanjiro didn't notice this unconscious slayer because his senses were flooded with everyone having small injuries and making him smell just blood. Tanjiro rushed over to the knocked-out Slayer's side and observed his injuries. Looks like a very deep cut on his right chest and another on his left arm. He pulled out a white cloth he kept in times when he would need them, just like this. He put it to his teeth and ripped it in half. He took one half and wrapped it around his entire chest and pulled on it tightly, trying his best to close the wound so no more blood would leak out. He did the same with his arm as well. Once that was done, he put a finger to his nose but couldn't feel any air coming out of it. He's not breathing. Shit. Tanjiro tried his best to perform CPR, giving the unconscious Slayer chest compressions. Come on, you better live, damn it. After multiple chest compressions later, the Slayer started coughing as his breathing returned. His eyes shot open from the aggressive coughing and Tanjiro laid his hands off. You okay, Shizuko? Once his coughing stopped and his breathing returned to normal, he turned his head to Tanjiro. Why yeah, thanks. Who are you though? Tanjiro stood up and stuck out a hand to help him stand up. I'm the son Hashira, Tanjiro Kamado. Nice to meet you. The Slayer took his hand in astonishment. Wah, Hashira. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Are you guys part of the other group of Slayers I found? Yeah, we split up thinking it was best that way. The demons were just too strong for us. Well, the Kakashi will arrive soon. I have to go, but take care. Of course. Again, thank you. Tanjiro nodded as he turned away and started running back to the butterfly mansion. I don't smell any more demons, so I think that's all of them. Time to head back. As Tanjiro was nearing the butterfly mansion from his solo mission, he heard lots of loud screaming. He was confused and ran in. He saw Tengen holding on to all of the butterfly girls, and even Kanao was pulling on him as well. What are you doing to the girls? Get your hands off of them. But he was further confused as Tengen looked at him for support. Wait, are they swarming him? Which is it? Sumi started wailing as she saw her savior, Tanjiro. It's a kidnapping. Save me. Yuwa. Tengen only got madder at her screaming. You dumb little brat. Kaya. Tanjiro got fed up with Tengen and decided to do something about it. He rushed in as fast as possible and took the girls, including AI, out of his hands before he even noticed. He set them off on the side. What are you even trying to do, Tengen? This is extremely unprofessional on your part. Oh, shut up, Tanjiro. I need a girl for my mission, so I'm bringing them along. I don't need Kacho's permission if they aren't Sugoko. Naho-chan isn't a Slayer's member. She isn't wearing the uniform. Fine then. I don't need her. Give back AI, Tanjiro. I need her for my mission. She may not be useful, but she's still a part of the Demon Slayer Corps regardless. There's also the added benefit of her being a girl. No way. You can't just take people against their will. We'll go in place of AI-san instead. Who's we? Zenitsu and Inosuke stepped in from the side where they were standing on the fence. They jumped beside Tanjiro. Tengen stared intensely at the trio and thought for a couple of seconds before relenting. He sighed as he realized there wasn't any option going against Tanjiro. Okay, fine. Then I'll have you guys come with me. But don't you dare defy me, you punks. Tanjiro started walking forward to join Tengen on his mission, but he felt somebody pull back on his hand. He turned around to see Kanao tugging on his hand. Are you really going? Tanjiro nodded his head confidently. Yes, but don't worry, I'll be back soon. He kissed her on the lips very briefly, but that made her want more. I promise to be safe. Bye. He waved at her as he walked off with Tengen, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. They all strode confidently. Well, except Zenitsu. Inosuke was kinda impatient about knowing where they were going. So were you taking us, geezer? To the most flamboyant place in all of Japan, filled with lust, greed, and tons of money. The trio were utterly confused. The entertainment district, where the demon lives. Zenitsu was the only one who knew about that place. Tanjiro and Inosuke were still confused. His face turned bright red as he knew what went on in that town. We're going to that place. Really? Tanjiro was still puzzled as to what that meant. Is that place something special? You don't know. No, like, that place. Come on, you must know about it. You know that place. You really don't know. Nope, not really. The Yoshiwara Entertainment District. The night district where the lust and charms of men and women swirl in a storm of love and hate. The entertainment district is also called the Flower District because, as the name implies, this part of the city is shaped like a flower. The prostitutes living here were either living in poverty or sold off due to loans. They bear a lot of hardships, but in exchange, they are guaranteed the necessities of life. If they can make their way up as a courtesan, they could potentially become part of a wealthy household by getting bought out. The most prominent among them, the Warren, are completely different altogether. They are special women who have acquired everything: beauty, education, and performance. You simply can't meet a high-ranking Warren to gain an audience with them. then have to frequently visit the entertainment district as if they were competing with each other. Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke were all trying to be sold off as a girl to different households by Tengen. He tried his best to put makeup on them and to make them look like a girl, but it wasn't very good. The head woman of one of the households was being negotiated with by Tengen to take one of the trio. Oh dear me, these are some ugly girls. Zenitsu was renamed as Zenko, Tanjiro as Sumiko, and Inosuke as Inoko. Sorry, we can't accept them. We just brought in a new girl a few days ago, so I'm sorry. The husband tried turning down all three of them, but the wife had a tiny blush on her face and caved in with the proposal. Well, one should be okay. It was no wonder why the wife was blushing. Tengen had his hair down and covered up his birthmark around his eye with concealer and was also looking very handsome. Then I will entrust one to you, ma'am. Thank you. Then we'll take the one in the middle. She seemed so earnest and honest. Sumiko stepped forward. I'll work as hard as I can. The next day, Tanjiro was tasked with a bunch of chores. He didn't mind because he was used to doing them living with his family. One of the women in the house came up to him as he was sewing some ripped clothing by hand. Sumiko-chan, could you carry some of these boxes over? We don't seem to have enough helpers. Tanjiro smiled brightly. I understand. Koinatsu Warin's room, right? I will carry it over. He bent down and picked up the luggage. You work really hard, Sumiko-chan. When we took off your makeup, we found your scar, so the hostess was extremely angry, but it's okay. I'm glad to do the work. He stood up with the luggage in hand and walked away to deliver them to the correct room. Both the women standing there were slightly baffled on strong he is. Isn't she? Really? Strong? She is. Tanjiro walked over to the Warin's room and overheard two girls whispering amongst each other. Tanjiro didn't mean to, but he accidentally overheard what they were saying. Did you hear? They're saying that Kyogoku House's madam fell from a window and died. That's scary. Let's be careful, okay? A lot of the older girls are leaving these days, committing Ashinuk. So scary. Tanjiro walked up to both of the girls to get more info. What's Ashinuk? Both of the girls were slightly shocked to see Tanjiro standing there. That's a lot of baggage. They're all presents for Koinatsu Warin. Sumiko-chan, you don't know what Ashinuk means. It means to run away from here without paying off your debts. It's really bad if you get caught. Is that so? Yes, some people do manage to run off with the man they love. Right, like the other day, Suma Warin. Tanjiro's eyebrows furrowed as he heard that name. Suma, that's one of Tengen's wives. Koinatsu Warin walked into the room standing at the doorway. Stop spreading those rumors. After all, nobody knows if she really did make it out of here. Both of the girls nodded in shame as they were caught spreading baseless rumors. The Warin turned to Tanjiro. So, you brought these up for me. Thank you. She stepped forward and grabbed Tanjiro's rough hand. She placed a cloth full of hard candy balls into his hand. Let me give you some candy. Eat it in secret, okay? For some reason, Tanjiro could feel some heat start to grow on his cheeks. Am I getting flustered? No, I have a girlfriend. Stop it, heart. Stop beating so fast. The young girls at her side started pestering her for some as well. I want some too. Warin. She shook her head elegantly. No, you just had some, remember. Tanjiro had refocused on what he was going to ask earlier. Did Suma Warin commit Ashinuk? The Warin looked at Tanjiro worriedly. Why do you want to know something like that? Tanjiro gulped as he worried that his cover of being a girl was about to be found out. She has her guard up. But I really need to know this information. Tanjiro thought up the only lie he could think of. Suma Warin is my ... Tanjiro's face scrunched up as he was forced to lie. ... Big sister. Tanjiro is so honest that he can't assume a normal expression when he lies. What he said really shocked the Warin and young girls by her side. And you were sold here after your sister. Yes. We were constantly exchanging letters ... And I know that she wouldn't have committed Ashinuk. Oh, is that so? I honestly never thought Suma-chan would do that either. She was such a grounded girl. There were never any signs she was infatuated with any men. But we found her diary ... And it said that she was planning to commit Ashinuk. I haven't heard of her getting caught, so it'd be nice if she managed to escape. Tanjiro's face returned to normal as he didn't have to continue the lie. He looked down and thought, this is a very convenient story for a demon. People would just think that they ran away from this district. The diary was probably a red herring set up by the demon too. But truthfully, the demon might have captured her ... or even worse, killed her ... No. I have to stay positive and assume she's alive. At least ... That's what I hope ... If she is still alive, we'll save you no matter what. Tanjiro bowed slightly at the Warin for the information. Thank you for telling me this. I really hope my big sister is okay. Later on in the day, while Tanjiro was helping out with the laundry, he stopped in the middle of the hallway having a concerned look on his face. I smell something wrong. Maybe a demon. The night in this town smells very impure.